Hi, and welcome to another episode of Muscle Meals with Steve. Today we're going to be making beef stroganoff. It's really incredible, so let's get to it. Okay, so to start we're going to take beef cubes. I'm using chopped sirloin today. You can use any kind of cubed beef that you like. And we're going to saute it in a Dutch oven. We don't want to crowd it too much since we want all the beef to be able to brown on all sides. So we're going to brown the beef for a few minutes until it turns brown on the outside, and then what we'll do is add take the beef out of the pot and put in some onions. So let me work on sauteing this for you. Okay, my beef is browning in my Dutch oven, and earlier today I had made some small meatballs that I'm going to add into this mixture. We're just going to toss them in. They've already been pre-cooked. So you can buy these also pre-packaged at some of the warehouse clubs. They sell small little Swedish meatballs. I of course made my own. You can do the same. There's a recipe on one of my channels for spaghetti sauce. You can make the same meatball, just omitting the raisins and the pine nuts. Okay, our meat is browned, and now we're going to saute 2 cups of chopped onions in the same pot using the leftover beef flavor. And we're going to saute them just till they get lightly browned. Should take about 2 to 3 minutes to brown them. And we'll go on to the next. Okay, so our onions have been browned, and to the pot now we're going to add 2 cups of quartered mushrooms. That's quartered, not sliced. If you slice them, they will become slimy. We don't want that. So we'll just quarter the mushrooms, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt to sweat the mushrooms. That will help them reduce down, get the water out of them. So we'll cook these for about 3 to 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, just to get the water out of them, and we'll move on to the next step. The mushrooms have reduced. We're going to add a tablespoon of fresh garlic. Just wanted to show you quickly. This is garlic puree. I put it into an ice cube tray after I whip it in the food processor. So we're going to put that in there, and we're going to add a half a cup of flour. And we're going to coat the mushrooms with the flour. And then we'll start adding our liquids. Okay, now we're going to add 3 cups of beef stock to the mushrooms and the onions. What I'm going to do is get all the other ingredients ready. It's a pretty long list, so I'm just going to read them off. Okay, the first thing we're going to add is 4 ounces of tomato puree. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, either light or dark, whatever you have on hand is fine. We're going to add 1 cup of Chardonnay, not red wine. You can use any white wine, but I like it with Chardonnay. I know you would think that because it's beef it would be red wine. We're going to add a tablespoon of freshly chopped thyme. And you can buy thyme at the supermarket in the little packages if you don't grow it in your garden. And we're going to stir all that. And that's going to be the broth, basically the base for the beef. And I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of fresh black pepper. And I'm not a big user of salt in my meals. It just usually is eaten very relatively salty. So I'm going to add a splash of Worcestershire and a little bit of salt, just to give it a little bit more. And you can adjust those to taste. I'm calling for 1/4 of a teaspoon. You can put as much or don't put it at all. I'm sorry, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, we'll bring this up to a boil, and then we'll add the beef back to the pot. My beef is back in the pot. I'm going to add my splash of Worcestershire sauce, and we're going to bring it to the boil, and then we're going to put the heat on low, and I'm going to cover it. Now I'm using a Straub heavy pot, which I find really cooks the meat through. And on the low heat, we're going to cook it for about an hour to an hour and a half, or until the beef becomes very tender. The cover's on, it's lightly bubbling, we'll put the heat on low, and I'll see you in about an hour and a half. And here you can see our pot has been cooking for about an hour to an hour and a half, and it's almost ready. Okay, we're ready for our last step of the beef stroganoff. I've taken about a third to a half of a cup of sour cream, and I'm using fat-free sour cream. And I'm going to add to it some Tabasco or hot pepper sauce, about maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. And again, you can adjust this to taste. And I'm going to mix the sour cream and the hot sauce together to temper it. And then I'm going to take my pot of stroganoff, take it off the heat, and I'm going to add the sour cream to it with the hot sauce. And again, you can adjust this to your liking. And we'll stir it, making a creamy sauce, and it will be ready. I'm going to serve it tonight over fresh egg noodles, and dinner will be ready. So enjoy. And here you go. Here's the finished plate. Enjoy. Thanks for watching another episode of Muscle Meals with Steve. I hope you enjoy your beef stroganoff. And remember, good health through good cooking and good eating. Have a great night.